My name is Chrystal Nichols, and today I have the privilege of interviewing Leah Otte for my master's class in counseling and collaborative techniques from a biblical worldview. The interview will be 15 minutes or less and will entail Leah's professional experiences as a teacher, along with some goals and ways she interacts with her students, families, and their colleagues in an educational setting. All views shared are confidential. First, I want to thank you, Ms. Otte, for this opportunity and ask your permission if I may record the interview.
You may.
All right.
You may.
Thank you. First of all, what grade do you currently teach?
I currently teach 5th grade at Mark Twain Elementary in Hannibal, Missouri.
Great. How long have you been teaching here?
This is my 5th year teaching here in Hannibal at this grade level. Previously, I taught 6th grade for 6 years in the southern part of the state.
Okay, so total, how many years have you been teaching?
This is my 11th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very proud of those 11 years.
So how did you know that you wanted to teach?
That was not something that came easily to me. I was one of those students that hopped around. Like 1 week I wanted to be a fighter pilot, the next week I wanted to be a park ranger. And it was just one of those things that slowly the Lord just started leading and laying on my heart, like, hey, teaching, hey, you love working with kids. And just through different people, I just started looking at the profession a little bit differently. But it wasn't until my freshman year of college, I'm like, I am really interested in education. And so there we go.
Wow, good. So were there teachers when you were a student that you looked up to and enjoyed?
Yes, for sure. You look back and almost each year you can see how a teacher either had positive or negative effects that shaped how you looked at education or even just your childhood. But some of my most positive ones were my 5th grade teacher taught me the love of reading. And then my 8th grade teacher, I can still remember her history lessons, like how she taught about the slave trade and the French and Indian War. I can still remember acting out those scenarios, and they just left such a deep impression on me. It's their passion of education, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So what things motivate you as a teacher now?
My students. Anytime my students get excited, get creative, look at a problem, a project in a different way than I have anticipated or planned for, excites me. Happened just today with our reading project. I've taught it for 11 years, and I had 2 kids create part of their mural and look at it in a completely different perspective than I have had before, and that excited me. You know, they always have fresh ideas, and every day is just a new adventure for them. So, definitely my students.
So, what are some things then that discourage you as a teacher?
The things that can really wear you down are actually sometimes the families or the parents that you have to work with. It can weigh a lot on you. Those parents that forget that we're a team together, that together we're here for your child to do the best that we can for them. And I know that a lot of times the reason why they have a hard time working with the teacher is because of their own background experience. But they can really give you a good day or a bad day, the families or parents that you work with. Right. They can.
I think that you've hit a little bit on cultural awareness and value orientation and communication. And so since you've already talked about that a little bit, how critical is it to be able to communicate as a teacher?
I don't know of any job where communication doesn't play a factor into it. But communication with your families, with your students, whether it be your expectations or even how well they're doing, your communication with my principal, with my colleagues, that is one of the most fundamental pieces to my students having success and for me to have success as a teacher. Mm-hmm. It is vital, that communication.
Would you say that you've grown in that area quite a bit from starting 11 years ago to now.
Oh my, yes. Yes. And it's because you fear that confrontation or that negative, what could possibly go wrong, that maybe you shy away from communicating with a family or even maybe communicating with a student. And communication can actually help that. It can actually build a relationship instead of tear it down if you're willing to have sometimes those hard conversations. So, if I only knew back then what I know now. Yes.
Indelible advice.
Yes.
So there's all sorts of different forms of communication. There's the face-to-face communication, there are email communications, papers that go out throughout the week. Have you grown in learning what information to send out and how to do it in a positive and encouraging way to reach out to families?
I hope I have. It's one of those things like I have this figured out, and then you find like, oh, they interpreted that differently than I anticipated. But I hope I have, and it's all about finding that balance. Like, what do my parents actually need to know? And what maybe they don't need to know. There's sometimes that's too much, and then the parents don't know where they need to focus and what important information out of that whole list do they actually, where do I need to focus so I can help my student better? But I do all forms of communication. Face-to-face is my favorite because I read expressions and verbal so much better that way, but I do utilize text messaging, the new tech apps that are out there for communicating with parents, especially if I just need to say, hey, reminder, math test next Wednesday. So I hope that answered your question.
That's true. I didn't think about that many different forms of communication that you can utilize within your own classroom and just and individually too.
And being aware that what is the best method to communicate with one parent is not the best method to communicate with another parent, and I need to be flexible with that.
Mm-hmm. Right. So some of the goals that you have for your students, every single class is different. Children are different every single year. What are some goals that you have for your class?
That my students grow. My philosophy of education is just pretty simple. It's all about the kids. Like, that is why I am here. That is what I am called to do and who I'm called to work with. So it's all about them. And I am here to educate them and to help them grow academically, emotionally, socially. And I want to see that growth, whether it's a little or whether it's a lot. Let's grow. And so that is my goal. If I can get you to grow leaps and bounds, how exciting. If I can get you just to inch along little by little, that's exciting too. Mm-hmm. That's exciting too. So that is my goal. Students grow.
Right. I know one thing that you implement in your classroom is a mission statement.
Yes.
What did your class choose for a mission statement this year?
Well, I would hate for the cameraman to have to cut to it, but it's actually posted up on my wall and outside of my classroom. But this year, the students created one that says, in this classroom, nobody gives up. We are respectful leaders that try our best and are kind to everybody. We are neat, quiet, and proud of who we are in our class. Everyone is special because we are all unique.
That's beautiful.
Yes, and what's amazing about mission statements is I will never get that one again. That is uniquely this class. Mm-hmm. So,
do you find that as you're teaching, you can bring it around sometimes when certain students are struggling to remind them of who they are and why they're here?
Oh, yes. Yes, and it's amazing that they chose that they wanted to be known as being quiet, because this class is very social and they enjoy communicating with each other and being around each other, but they're like, this is what we want to be known for. And so I do bring that up. I'm like, this is one of the things that you guys said you wanted to be. But yes, I will refer back to their mission statement, especially the first thing they said was nobody gives up. Nobody gives up. So those are powerful 3 words.
They really are. How often do you use the Covey habits in your classroom?
Daily, hourly, probably without even realizing it. In our school, it's common language. So you'll hear people say, is that your big rock? Or circle of control, circle of control. Let's synergize. Let's think win-win. We say it, and I feel like we do it without even realizing that we're doing it. I love it that it gives us a shared language. I help out with kindergarten dismissal. So again, I'm able to say, oh, we're in our circle of control, our hands in our circle of control. And those kindergartners understand what I am saying because we have that shared language. And so the habits tremendously help unify us as a school. So I could keep on going on about them in different ways they help. But the 7 habits, one of the reasons I love them so much is because they teach that each student has value. They're not simply a student in the school, they are a part of the school. They have a job, they have a responsibility, they are a part of the family. They are a part of the school family. You have a value. And that's one of the reasons we really are a leader in youth school, is because we want our students to feel that when they walk in the doors.
Okay. There was recently an 8th habit. So what is that 8th habit, and has it been helpful?
Find your voice. I love it because it fits in with the bottom part of our mission statement. We are all unique. We all like to be leaders, serve, do a job in a different way. There is no right way to be a leader. You can do something in the quiet. You can simply wipe a table and be a leader. And finding your voice is meaning expressing your personality and showing how I am proud of who I am, and this is what kind of leader I can be.
So it is helpful. That's good. Collaboration. That's something that I'm interested in you explaining a little bit. So will you explain how you teach collaboration in your classroom, and then how you collaborate with your colleagues?
Yes. So in the classroom, I try to do even weekly team builders. So we're at a table like this, a table of 4. This table would be a table team. And they will have just little exercises they have to do to synergize together. But I'll do little ones to even a class builder. So as a class, we're doing something to synergize, work together, be together, and it's all about building that culture. So then when we have to collaborate and we have to work on something, we have that positive culture already established that we actually can work together on something that we can. Sometimes I assign them specific roles, like you are the recorder, you are this, so that they each can have a very important part in whatever they are doing. But just building and doing those little steps helps too, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. The cameraman is holding up his finger.
Sounds good. So collaboration with your colleagues, and we'll probably have to wrap that up with this last question, but I was thinking specifically like teacher in-service days, now that you get a full day together. So what does it look like collaborating with other teachers on a day like that?
If I expect teamwork and collaboration in my classroom, it's definitely happening in my grade level, in my whole entire building. My grade level team meets every Wednesday morning and every Thursday evening to collaborate. Whether it's talking about an assessment that my students have done, and maybe those successes that we saw. This lesson worked really well. This activity worked really well. This didn't. Or I'm really struggling to reach this student. Do you guys have any ideas? And us bringing things to the table. and going, this is what I used, it worked really well. This is what I used, it did or didn't work really well. And we have that shared responsibility of helping all students in our grade. Just a couple weeks ago, we even pulled up a 4th grade teacher because we needed to hear, okay, 4th grade, we need some background knowledge. We need a little bit of help of what our 5th graders know coming to us about this topic, so we can know how to help them, because right now we were having a little bit of struggle over a certain concept. And right there, they dropped what they were doing and came in and spoke with us and gave us immediate help. So collaboration is key, but it goes along with communication. Us communicating, we had a need, we have a help, but then our team just immediately being like, okay, we got your back.
Wow. Sounds like it's a very strong culture.
We try. Every relationship takes work. Every relationship takes work, and we try. We do try, and we do work at that. We do.
Very good. Well, I definitely have some more questions to ask you at another time, but a couple of things that I want to conclude with is the interview reflects the thoughts and opinions of Miss Otte in her role as an educational professional, her experiences, and is not necessarily reflective of the views of the school or the school district in which she is employed. All information in the video and written documentation will be confidential and will be viewed on YouTube and graded by my instructor and possibly some of my peers. So, Miss Otte, thank you so much again for just taking time to do this and giving me some insightful and tangible ways to look forward to being a teacher. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you being a teacher here and the influence that you have on so many children's lives. So thank you. Okay, you can stop it.